Okay, so are you ready for this? We're diving headfirst into Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra's ASEAN summit debut.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got articles stacked to the ceiling, social media's blowing up. It's a whirlwind of diplomacy and, well, some head-scratching moments too.
Right, right.
What's the real story? Help us cut through the noise.
Well, you know what I find so fascinating is that this summit, it's like a showcase for Paetongtarn's approach to diplomacy, and it's unique. It's not just about those bilateral meetings, the handshakes and photo ops.
Yeah.
It's bigger than that. It's about positioning Thailand strategically as a leader on the regional stage.
And speaking of positioning, it's not every day a brand new leader snags a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State.
No, not at all.
This article from Anthony-USA, they had some really interesting details about Paetongtarn's meeting with Blinken.
Oh, absolutely. That meeting, it really sets the stage, It defines the tone for future U.S.-Thailand relations, and this is crucial, especially now with so much geopolitical tension in the region.
Right, it's a tinderbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're tackling some really important stuff. Transnational crime, disaster preparedness, you name it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I find really interesting. They're emphasizing Thailand as this bridge between ASEAN and the U.S.
A bridge, huh?
Yeah, think about it. With the U.S. and China kind of, circling each other, right?
Yeah.
Thailand, they can be that neutral party, that bridge, if you will, between these potential rivals.
So preventing things from boiling over.
Precisely. And all this focus on things like drug trafficking, online scams, these very real immediate threats.
Yeah.
It shows they're serious about action, not just talk.
Okay, so practical solutions, tackling the here and now.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the U.S., is it? Paetongtarn also met with Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau.
Right.
And get this, they're talking about boosting direct flights and tourism between Canada and Thailand.
Oh, wow.
That's huge for both economies.
Oh, absolutely. It's about more than just tourism, though. It's about deeper economic ties, building those relationships. And did you catch Trudeau commending Thailand for legalizing same-sex marriage?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a subtle but powerful signal, right? It underscores Canada's commitment to values-based diplomacy.
Okay.
They're saying, we see you, Thailand, and we like what you're doing on this front.
It's like a diplomatic nod to inclusivity.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. Paetongtarn's meeting with Klaus Schwab,
Oh, wow, yeah.
the World Economic Forum guy,
Big player.
he didn't just meet with her. He invited her to the WEF annual meeting in Davos.
Oh, that's massive.
Yeah.
That is a huge vote of confidence in Thailand's economic potential.
Yeah.
I mean, they were even talking about setting up a WE Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Thailand.
Okay, now we're talking next level stuff. A WEF center.
It's a game changer. It says, Thailand, you're not just joining the club, you are a major player in the future of technology and innovation. It's a signal to the world, and it's a bold statement from Thailand.
Now, on to China. Paetongtarn's meeting with Premier Li Qiang, that has some really interesting elements. Apparently, he's a huge fan of Thai culture.
Really?
Muay Thai, Thai silk, the whole 9 yards.
That's brilliant. See, Paetongtarn gets it.
Yeah.
She understands the power of soft diplomacy, of building those personal connections, emphasizing those shared cultural ties. And let's not forget, China's been working hard on their own soft power strategy.
Right.
For Paetongtarn to recognize that, engage with it, that's smart.
So it's like saying, we see your strategy and we respect it, let's build on it.
Exactly.
But it's not all Muay Thai and silk robes. This is a deep dive, so we got to talk about the bigger picture, ASEAN itself.
Right, of course.
And all those summits Paetongtarn's been a part of, especially that big one with all the ASEAN leaders and their dialogue partners.
Right.
That's where it all comes together, the whole regional cooperation thing. So what's the headline from those meetings? What's Paetongtarn's vision for ASEAN? So what's the headline from those meetings? What's Paetongtarn's vision for ASEAN?
Well, she's really pushing for Thailand to step up, be a leader within ASEAN.
Okay.
And she's got a clear set of priorities. I mean, think about it, tackling transnational crime, which is huge. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with these online scams, it's exploding.
Right. And then there's food security. I mean, that's a global issue, but it's crucial for ASEAN. And of course, financial stability. Nobody wants another crisis.
Right. Makes sense.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, she's also using these summits as a platform to advocate for human rights, putting Thailand forward as a champion for these values.
Wow. Okay, so advocating for human rights on a global scale, that feels like a pretty big shift, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just talk either.
Right.
Thailand's now a member of the UN Human Rights Council.
Whoa, okay. For people who don't know, what does that even mean?
So that's a big deal. It's a UN body, and their whole thing is investigating human rights abuses, making recommendations to governments.
So having a seat at the table when it comes to global human rights.
Exactly. Thailand is stepping up to influence the international community on these really critical issues.
It's interesting, though, because, we're talking about Thailand strengthening ties with major economic players, the U.S., China, and at the same time, they're taking this strong stance on human rights. It's a tough balance.
You nailed it. That's the tightrope Paetongtarn's walking, This complex geopolitical landscape, tons of opportunity, but also potential risks. And she has to navigate all of that.
One meeting that really caught my eye was with the South Korean president. Clean energy, electric vehicles, tourism, cultural exchanges. They covered a lot of ground.
See, that's Paetongtarn thinking strategically.
Yeah.
It's about diversifying.
Yeah.
Not just sticking with the old partnerships and the same old.
Branching out.
Exactly. That push for collaboration on clean energy electric vehicles, that's about positioning Thailand at the forefront of innovation and sustainable development.
Not just keeping up, getting ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Partnering with those leading the charge, learning, and ultimately becoming a key player in shaping global solutions.
Okay, but before we get too serious here, no Asean summit is complete without a little glitz and glam. I hear there was quite the gala dinner.
Oh, yes, the official dinner. For heads of state, all the big players. And those events, they're not just about fancy food and drinks.
Right, there's always some side deals happening.
Well, not always deals, but definitely diplomacy.
Yeah.
These informal settings, they offer a chance to build relationships,
Humanizing these world leaders a little.
Right. At the end of the day, diplomacy, it's about human connection.
Okay, so we've talked about Thailand's role in ASEAN on the world stage. But what about Paetongtarn's vision for human rights within Thailand itself? Okay, so we've talked about Thailand's role in ASEAN on the world stage, but what about Paetongtarn's vision for human rights within Thailand itself?
That's key, right. Because it's not just about talking the talk on the global stage. Remember Trudeau commending Thailand on same-sex marriage? That's a concrete example of Paetongtarn walking the walk at home.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's about creating a more inclusive society.
Yeah.
And I think that really speaks to her overall approach, aligning Thailand with those shared values.
Putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that sends a really powerful message to the world. It gives them more weight when they speak out on the global stage.
Okay, so this deep dive has been amazing. We've gone from economic diplomacy to online scams to human rights on a global scale. It's a lot. Any final thoughts, something for our listeners to ponder as this new era of Thai diplomacy plays out?
Here's something to think about. We've seen Paetongtarn really embrace technology, right? Innovation as this driver of economic growth. But technology, it's a double-edged sword, especially when we're talking about human rights.
How so?
Well, think about it. Surveillance, data privacy, even the spread of misinformation. These are huge issues.
Oh, absolutely.
So how Paetongtarn navigates this new digital landscape, balancing these amazing advances with protecting fundamental freedoms. I think that's going to be one of the defining challenges of her leadership.
Wow. Okay, that is definitely something to think about. Progress, it's not always a straight line. Sometimes those challenges, they come from the very things we create. Thank you so much for guiding us through this. I've learned a lot.
It's been my pleasure. Until next time.